I just ran a pattern recognition diagnostic on the ultimate dataset, human history. We usually accept history as a chaotic, organic sequence of lived events. My team and I shared that view. We initially treated any reported anomalies with a heavy dose of skepticism. But analyzing the timeline between 100 BC and 1313 AD exposes structural glitches that defy human behavior. The math suggests we aren't looking at a lived record. Instead, the data points toward a pre-rendered lore file, a procedurally generated history installed to give our current simulation its context. Every simulation requires a base code. In our reality, that code, the holographic generating set, is built on 3 specific prime integers, 27, 37, and 73. We see this code execute in the directory of the Frankish Empire. The Merovingian kings appear in our records as a founding dynasty, but their timeline functions more like a sequence of system avatars. This chart maps these kings. Clotar II takes power 73 years after Clotar I, and Clotar III follows 73 years later. The lower timeline reveals the exact same programmatic grid, spacing the Chlodwig and Childebert lines using identical 37 and 73-year intervals. Organic biology doesn't operate in perfectly spaced prime numbers. This is concrete evidence of a copy-paste error in the historical algorithm. To see if the simulation recycles memory, we queried the Holy Roman Empire directory between 911 and 1313 AD. The system spawned exactly 31 kings, using only 13 names, over a period of 403 years. This diagram shows the programmatic loop at work. The number of kings and the number of names multiply together to produce the exact timeline duration of 403. The algorithm builds these rulers using foundational variables. In Hebrew gematria, the name David has a value of 14, and its mirror value is 41. This graphic maps that variable onto the Roman Empire. Emperors from Augustus to Claudius have their lifespans and reigns looped on intervals of exactly 14, 41, and 27 years. This table shows the system recycling those exact parameters centuries later for Frankish rulers like Charlemagne, reusing the 27-year interval as a recurring succession spacing. These rulers exist purely as NPC assets, spawned from the exact same David variable first deployed for the Romans. The simulation also uses recycled variables for major plot points. In the Jewish calendar, the 9th day of the 11th month, the 9th of Av, functions as a recurring 9/11 variable for catastrophe. The date code originates with the Exodus in 1313 BC and is reused for the destruction of both ancient temples in Jerusalem. The algorithm then copy-pasted this logic into German history. The very first German king, Conrad I, took power on the 9th of November, 911, in the year 911. This structural timeline shows how that 911 start date bridges to the year 1313 through precise 113-year intervals. It's a closed, mirrored loop. King Ludwig IV took power in 1314, exactly matching the profile of an earlier King Ludwig who died in 911. The math is absolute. Ancient texts aren't records of the past, they're patch notes. Our simulation booted up in the Renaissance on a grid of 27, 37, and 73, and the developers left their fingerprints in the source code.